I'm going to share my screen and we will have a look at what we got this evening. So, welcome to Badsey First School. When I took over as head teacher in 2018, I considered three simple things that I wanted us to achieve at the school. I wanted it to be a place where children are safe and are happy. I wanted it to be a place where children achieve their academic potential. And I wanted us to build relationships with our local community. We're 3 years into that journey now, and the feedback we receive from the various stakeholders is we're doing a good job at achieving those things. We analyse parent surveys every year. We like to work with the parents and hear from them. We have quality assurance processes in place to make sure that we are continuing to do the best we can for the children in our care. But I hope that's what you signed up to. Those of you who've been for a tour with me, those of you who know our school by reputation, those of you who already have siblings at the school, indeed some of you who have worked at the school or been governors at the school, I hope that this is what you think you were signing up to, because this is absolutely what we want for your child. We set out on that journey with 4 key values. The journey itself began back for me in 2017-18, and the school had a tough journey through Ofsted. It was categorised as special measures. When a school goes into special measures, it has to become an academy and it has to go into a multi-academy trust. Our multi-academy trust is called the Gloucestershire Learning Alliance. I'll talk more about them in a moment. And what we get from the Gloucestershire Learning Alliance is an absolute partnership, and we work in collaboration with lots of other schools. Our school improvement journey has absolutely been underpinned by these 4 values. We introduced them really early in our journey, and any child, any parent who's associated with the school knows these values. And I want to talk to you a bit about them this evening, because this is everything to our school, these 4 things. Be kind, because why wouldn't you be? Why would you want your child to be anything other than kind? Be responsible. We talk to the children about being responsible for their learning. We talk to them about being responsible for their behaviour, their actions, their words, and we encourage them and reward them when we see them doing it really well. We talk to them about being respectful to one another, to the grown-ups. We talk to the grown-ups about being respectful to the children. We talk about being respectful to our environment, and we talk about being determined. What we don't ever say to children is that learning's really easy. We make learning super fun. We make learning engaging and active, but we also let the children know that on this journey, if they work hard, it will feel brilliant. That's when the best learning happens. If they make a mistake, that's okay. We want them to make mistakes, but then we want them to be determined to learn from them and improve. That's what the values mean to the children, and we talk about them every single day. They're on display in every single classroom, and they really are the lifeblood of our school. What I wanted to talk to you a bit about this evening is what these values might mean to you as parents joining our school. How can you interpret them? How can you use them to help your child's journey? In terms of be respectful, I want you to know that this is a school of brilliant professionals who are here to help you. I did a little bit of maths earlier that might upset a couple of the teachers in this meeting, but our small staff, our small teaching staff of 7 teachers and myself, have accrued over 120 years of experience working with children. Why I say that is because we love the idea of you trusting that judgment and buying into that judgment and seeing us as professionals who are here to help. On this journey, you will have questions for us and we'll be able to answer them. You will have challenges for us and we'll listen to those challenges and we'll support you. And we really want it to be a partnership that's absolutely centred in respect to one another. When we provide feedback on your child, work with us. If we're not providing feedback, talk to us and we'll be respectful to you and you'll be respectful to us and it will work. Sometimes parents have really fresh and new ideas and we really want to hear them and we want to invite you to be a part of our community and help us. And sometimes parents have great ideas that sometimes they're not new ideas and we've already got something in place, or that might not be possible. And as long as we respect each other, it always works. Be responsible. We talk about that one to parents about how can you help us to support your child. Be responsible for your child's journey in the same way that we're responsible for it. Let's work together to help them deliver their very best. One thing that's really important is that from day one, that me, you, the teachers, we get our communication right with each other. We operate an open door policy at Badsey, and what that means is if you've got a question, if you want to come and have some time to talk to me, to talk to the teachers, you can. Come and talk to us. We're here to listen. We want to hear. We want to help. What doesn't help is if you choose a different media to have that communication. So if you've got something you want to raise, to talk to us about, come to us. Don't go to social media. Don't talk to another parent about it. You'll get a better solution if you come to us and we work collaboratively. So that's, I think, what we mean by be responsible. The other part of be responsible is a new journey that we're going on at school that Mrs. Elsden, one of our reception teachers next year, has been leading. So I'll let her talk to you a little bit about a new type of responsibility we're asking all of our community to engage with. Are you there, Mrs. Elsden?
I'm here.
Lovely.
Right, brilliant. So as a whole school, we have been working really hard on our responsibility around travel to school. So kicked off with our Healthy Living Week a few weeks ago, and we've been really looking at our travel choices around school and how we are able to perhaps make some better, more sustainable choices around how the children get to and from school. We're really excited to have sort of our new generation of Badsey pupils, you guys, and we're excited for the good habits to start in reception. So we are sort of asking you, wherever possible, for those of you that live in the village and don't have onward travel, that you can walk to school, bike to school, scoot to school. We are also aware that there are many of you that can't do that. So if you are having to drive to school, that be mindful, try not to park on School Lane, near the entrance on Willersey Road. If possible, you could park sort of further away from the school, a little bit further into the village, and walk. And this would really, really help the congestion around school, making it safer for the staff, the pupils, or the families involved in school, and also just really promoting that healthy lifestyle that we want our children to have, and being responsible for our village and our school and everyone in it.
Fab. Thanks, Mrs. Elsden. Spot on. In terms of the Badsey value of be kind, there really isn't much more to say about be kind than why wouldn't you be? Role model it to your child. Say positive things to other parents when you see them on the playground. Be polite. Smile. Be cheery. I love the quote there. Remember, boy, a kind act can sometimes be as powerful as a sword. I just think it's a really important thing we want to instill. We have feedback from parents regularly that behaviour is really good at Badsey, that there isn't a culture of bullying at all at our school. And if there is ever an incident, if parents talk to us about it, we deal with it really well. I think people are innately kind, and we look to bring that out of everyone that's associated with our school. And the final one, be determined. What does that mean to a parent? I think be determined for your child. Be determined for them to be the very best that they can be. Be determined to help us unlock their potential. If we ask you to read with your child, be determined to do it. Be determined that they will read with you. If you've got something that you really are feeling that we're getting right, be determined to let us know about it. If you've got a challenge that you want to put to us respectfully, be determined that it's the right thing for our school and for your child. And again, role model that to your child, that you want the very, very best for them, which I'm pretty confident everyone in this meeting does. So they're the Badsey values, they're what they mean. I spoke about the Gloucestershire Learning Alliance, that's our multi-academy trust. These are their values: to get the best for everyone, to get the best from everyone, knowledge to empower, education with ambition, leadership at every level, and continuous improvement. What they mean is, when we adhere to these things, when we work collaboratively with our other schools on these things, we create a really, really successful environment. All of the schools in the trust are rated consistently as good or outstanding by Ofsted. The leadership at every level. The leadership within the trust is exceptional. Our CEO consults for the Department for Education, for regional schools commissions. He'll hate me for saying it, but he brings over 35 years of leadership experience in schools to support us. I talk about the GLA being our safety net, an organisation that can bring consistency. It can be at the cutting edge of education. And what we can't ever do is drift off and try and do things our own way because we think that's a good way to do it. We work in collaboration with our peers to do the very best for the children. And it's a really safe place to put your child's education. What it also offers is something called additionality. So we might try and do events throughout the course of a year that help the children connect with the other schools in the trust, but are also something what we call wow days. So instead of just doing sports day at Badsey, what we tried to do is a whole GLA sports day where, you know, the 2,000 pupils in GLA schools can all get together over several days at a sports stadium. Or we might do a STEM week, science, technology, engineering and maths, and we might get visitors across our whole range of schools to do wonderful explosions in assembly and build massive contraptions out of Lego. And all of these extra things we can bolt onto your child's curriculum, we can do on a bigger scale because we're in this trust. So where the ultimate tagline of the GLA is outstanding outcomes for children, and we talk about at all levels, outstanding outcomes as a person who can make great relationships, outstanding outcomes as a mathematician, outstanding outcomes as someone who's driven to do their best at school, a really holistic approach to your child. In terms of who we've got at school this year, I hope I've introduced them in the letters, and I hope you've had a chance to meet them and will get a chance to meet them very soon. I talked earlier about our team offering 120 years of experience, and the team that we've had now at school, we've had for the 3 years that I've worked there. So we are really good at working with each other to get the best from each other. We've got 26 children in the class starting in September. The early years team will be led by Mrs. Williams. Mrs. Elsden will also be the teacher on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And Mrs. Appleyard is our teaching assistant who offers absolute consistency. I'll let the teachers introduce themselves quickly and just tell you a very quick profile about themselves and their relationship with the school. Mrs. Williams, are you there?
Of course, I'm here. So I am Mrs. Williams. I have worked at Badsey for 10 years. I graduated from Leeds University and have travelled about a fair bit, living overseas in Germany for about 14 years. I have worked across all key stages, and I have found my love and passion in the early years, and that is where I'm determined to stay. And every day is fun.
Mrs. Elsden, tell us a bit about you.
Hello, I'm Mrs. Elsden. I've also been at Badsey for 10 years for my sins. Worked for many of those years closely with Mrs. Williams mainly in Key Stage 2. I'm excited to be joining the EYFS team this year under the watchful eye of Mrs. Williams. Yeah, I think that's about it. I'm also, along with you guys, on the same journey. My daughter is starting reception at our local school as well, so I know what you're going through, and hopefully we can share on this journey.
Fabulous. Thank you, Mrs. Elsden. I second that. I think I put in my letter to you the other day, my daughter starts at school in September as well, so we are very much quite a unique group that we're all on this journey together. Mrs. Elsden is new to reception. This will be her first year in reception. We talked earlier about the GLA offering that safety blanket, that net that helps us. So what's already been happening is she's been spending a day a week, morning a week in reception for the last 6 weeks. She's been working with our leaders across the trust in early years to be trained up and learn more about what successful teaching and learning in reception looks like. So this isn't a sort of a cold recruitment. This isn't someone joining reception with no experience. Mrs. Elsden brings 10 years of experience of teaching, and her training in this specific year group has started a while ago. So we're proud to say that she will be able to hit the ground running in a far stronger way than perhaps a school that's on its own.
I've been in there all day, hence why I forgot to mention that.
Puzzles your brain reception.
Yeah, but a bit brain dead from it.
There's the team. We also we've got a wonderful Mrs. Lewis in the office. She'll have been emailing you or spoken to you on the phone, I'm sure. She is fantastic. She is your port of call if you've got any questions. You have myself as the head teacher, and Mrs. Charnley's our deputy head, who's based 3 days a week in year 3 and offers us some leadership capacity as well. So as I say, a really experienced team and really looking forward to working with you guys. What do we expect from you? There's an interesting question, and maybe one that you may be asking yourselves. I certainly am as a parent of a child starting a reception. What does school want us to do? Well, we expect everyone to follow the Badsey values. We expect open and honest communication with one another, that respectful relationship. In terms of what school readiness might mean for your child, we often get asked, you know, should we have done some phonics with our child? Should they be reading yet? Should they be able to write their name? What should they be able to count to? Well, that's unique to your child. We will find all that out, and Mrs. Williams will talk about that shortly. What we would really like is your child to be school ready in terms of out of nappies, have an attitude where they are ready to learn, they want to learn, that learning is something that they're looking forward to. And an interesting one is that they understand rules and their consequences. And I mean that in a positive way first. They understand that if they make the right choices, fun stuff happens. And at Badsey, you're guaranteed a sticker if you're caught being good. We also want them to understand that if we make wrong choices, there will be consequences. Now, that's not we tell children off, but we help them understand that if you're unkind to someone, that might hurt their feelings and you wouldn't like it yourself. Some parents use naughty steps or time-out zones as they're going through those toddler years. And that's all the same sort of thing. It's about helping children understand that rules have to exist to keep everyone safe and happy, and rules have really positive consequences for everyone. And wrong choices have to have consequences as well. So if you can start to prepare your child with those 3 things, then that really is the most important first step you can take. The rest we'll take care of and we'll communicate with you along the way. Compulsory school age, 5 years old is the compulsory school age, but it's actually the term after their 5th birthday. So if a child turned 5 on the 12th of February, then their compulsory school age term will be from the 1st of April as we head into the summer term. Why I say this is on very rare occasions, and in the 3 years I've been there, we've only ever done it once, but sometimes 4-year-olds just find it harder to settle, and we have lots of options in terms of how we help the settling work. I'll talk to you in a minute about transition and why we do what we do, but sometimes that's not enough. And rarely we have to maybe do a part-time timetable for a child to help stagger them and help build up their confidence of school. Most children are chomping at the bit and ready for school. But I put this slide in here just so that you know, until your child turns 5, we have choices that we can work on together. And we may not need to use any of those choices, but they exist for us should we want them to. The transition itself, I often get asked, why do we do the 2 weeks at the beginning of term on the staggered timetable? And that's because this is a big deal. This is a really big deal for your child. It's really common to see a staggered timetable at the start of a school year for a child who's 4. It can be a time of uncertainty. Not every child is familiar with Badsey First School. Not every child comes from School Lane Nursery. They've got to learn to work with lots of different people. Nursery rooms normally have less children in than school classrooms, so we like to start with smaller groups and we like to build up the confidence. We like to get to know your child personally. I like to know every child's name. Mrs. Williams and Mrs. Elsdon really want to get to know everything about your child, and that's much easier to do if we start in some small groups. There are also a lot of routines for a child to get their head around, and the start of the school day, when's lunch, when's break, how long is a school day. Some children may have done 3 days a week at nursery, and some preschool, and some may have been going to nursery 8 till 6 for the last five days a week for the last 3 years, and every child's different. So that's why we do the transition period, and we like to think of it there, that last line, as a process and not an event. So the messy play session we've had in this evening is part of transition, but that isn't transition over. It's about getting it right, getting to know your child, and making sure that the rest of the journey through school is built on this wonderful foundation of a successful transition. So that's why we do this time in September in particular. I completely get, as a working dad of a child who's going through a staggered start, that it's slightly inconvenient when we're trying to get work and childcare, but I promise it's worth it for your child. Right, that's the end of my bit. Mrs. Williams will take over the talking for a while now as we go through more about life in the early years. I'm just going to very quickly pause, stop sharing screen, and just check, are there any questions about anything we've talked about at this stage, about sort of Badsey as a whole? That's encouraging. Lots of good listening this evening from parents and families. All right, Mrs. Williams, I'll get the slides up and the show is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Moss. Okay, so good evening, everybody. It's lovely to see you all. And yeah, apologies for today's messy play, although I have to say I didn't fancy it in the rain, if I'm honest. That downpour looks pretty wet. So our baseline, it usually lasts 4 to 5 weeks, and that includes your 2 messy play sessions on the Thursday and Friday at the start of term. We will then look closely later on at the timetable for the next 2 weeks after that. But then once your child's in full time, some of that time is still counted as our baseline, where we're doing assessments and just generally getting to know your children. And we'll have some activities that we will be able to give to you next week, ready for the summer, which you will be able to do with your child, which will help us get to know them as well. That's the aim of it. It's not really about assessment as such. It's about getting to know the children, getting to know their starting points. We want to know where they're coming from, and equally that will inform us where we're going. So thank you, Mr. Moss. Next slide, please. There we go. So our early years curriculum, we have prime and specific areas that we adhere to and explore, and that will form the basis of the early years curriculum. So we have the personal, social and emotional development, where that's really a huge focus when your child starts school. We want them to make relationships. We want them to be self-aware. Such things like you can't have your needs met all of the time. You may have to sit and wait on, on the carpet quietly and listen to a story, being aware that there are going to be, 26 others in the class and it's not just you. Managing feelings and behavior, we totally accept. We might have some tears, we might have some sadness, hopefully lots of excited, enthusiastic children, but it's how they can manage that and overcome that. And with our help and support and your guidance too, hopefully we can achieve that from the get-go, really. Physical development plays a huge part. We love to use our loose parts in early years and have fun with our gross motor skills, using the bikes and other equipment. And then this one here, health and self-care, this one really is about toileting. Are the children aware of things that make them healthy? This will all tie into our agenda that Mrs. Elston mentioned earlier on in the presentation about getting to school and making right choices. And communication and language, so listening and attention, understanding and speaking. All of these areas weave into each other, and you'll find as the year goes on that you'll see some connections. For example, I'll just point out moving and handling includes fine motor and gross motor. Well, your fine motor is going to be connected with writing, so that's why we'll always have some good fine motor activities. Lego's always a great one, Play-Doh, strengthening these fingers, and you want the steak test. You want a well done steak on this part of your hand to make a good writer. So then we move on to our academic areas, literacy and mathematics. So reading and writing, phonics is our journey that we start here. It's super exciting. It's probably one of my all-time favorites. I adore phonics and I adore what it can do for your children. After Christmas, it honestly is just, hold on to your seats, folks, because they just take off. It's brilliant. So we would like to work with you in partnership to make sure that we get that journey right, and it is one of our primary focuses in the early years. Phonics is our bread and butter. So As maths subject lead across our school, I'm also very passionate about mathematics, and we explore it in such a practical way at Badsey. We do lots of observations, and you will get to see those throughout the year. They're in the form of a photograph, and they will have notes with them. And it's always going to be done in a practical way: songs, rhymes, using adding machines, exploring shape pictures, counting with pom-poms, objects, anything you like, we will count it. Understanding the world, and this one, I think I have to say, has been an area where COVID has affected, because we want to get out and make links with our communities. We want to have people in to talk to our children, and we want them to understand the world around them. In order to do so, they've got to have some real life experiences there. So hopefully this year we can get back on track with that. Technology is always an important one, and I think our children tend to succeed in this area better than some of us do now. So that, I think we will need some communication from you at some point in the year, because you'll need to let us know what they're doing at home as well. Expressive arts and design. So our day usually has lots of opportunity to explore media and materials, role play, being imaginative and creative, junk modelling, painting, you name it, we'll have a go at it. And that all ties into our talk for writing and how we immerse the children in our books that we are reading. Thank you, Mr. Moss. Next slide. So, yeah, on behalf of everyone here at Badsey, we are so excited to welcome you. And this really is such an important time in your child's life and your life. Myself and Mrs. Elsden, we are mums of preschoolers, so we are very familiar with their little lives, and we love to hear from them, even sometimes when we're a little bit tired. So during this reception year, your child will make new friends, I can guarantee that. The staggered start that Mr. Moss referred to, that is our chance to bond them, create what I like to call a new class family. That is what we become, a class family, and enjoy new experiences and learn. And I'm sure those of you that already know me have had children that I have taught already. It's got to be fun. Early years is fun, and that's what I would like our children to think. I had a great quote from our messy play session from one of our new parents the other day, who said their child had come home and told their grandparents that school was one big party. It was like a party. So that just makes me beam. That's what I want for our children at Badsey. So we're going to have the chance to work as partners and ensure that at the end of the school year, your child has a positive attitude towards learning and they are secure. It's all based on their social, emotional and academic confidence. We are embracing the growth mindset in early years, and we like phrases such as, you can't do it yet, but you can or you will. So next slide, thank you. So as part of the induction programme, there's been lots of work going on in the background. We've been squirreling away since just after Easter. I started touching base with preschool settings. That was in the form of telephone conversations. I did make some visits as well to observe children in settings as well. We've obviously got our Meet the Teachers, we've got this evening, but next Tuesday and Wednesday, if you haven't already made an appointment, then you can do so via the school office. Mrs. Lewis will be pleased to take your call and book you in. Just a note on that point as well, I think she's going to send you a message just to confirm, but I can mention it for those of you now. If you would like to bring along your child, you are more than welcome. We are happy to see them again and meet with them too. So do bring them along on Tuesday or Wednesday. It's our staggered intake in September. It's arranged into 2 different groups. It's purely done alphabetically. we have a curriculum evening for parents explaining the reception curriculum, and that's where we would delve a little deeper into phonics and how we learn to read and write using phonics. I can see there is a hand up. Liz Hogarth, would you like to ask me a question? Just hold on, I'll take you off mute. There we go. Ooh.
Can you hear me?
There we go. Yes, I can.
Hello.
Hi.
Good evening, everybody. Just a quick question with regards to when we come and meet you next week. Is it both parents? Can we both come?
So, Mr. Moss, I think because we're outside under the veranda, I am more than happy for both parents to come, as we will be, I hate the term, socially distanced, and we will have the whole of under the veranda. So I'm happy for both parents, and you can bring your child, as long as Mr. Moss doesn't tell me off that.
No, it's absolutely fine. Yeah, we've got a nice space put aside with the rule of 30 outside. I think it's absolutely fine to say that we can have both parents and the children. Don't start bringing grandparents and aunties and uncles though.
Thank you very much.
Mark Harris, I can see you have a question, or your hand is up. No. Okie dokie.
Have you got me?
Oh, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. No, we're actually away next week on a long-awaited holiday.
Oh, you can go off some
wife
people.
But still wanted to come in, and we didn't know if there was another opportunity for us.
Unfortunately, I'd love to say that there is. However, I'm really, really keen to give my current class the time that they deserve in that final week. But what we can do is we can post out to you the activities that we would like to be completed over the summer, and all of the other information, such as school uniform and other things like that, you can find on the school website. And if you have any questions from now until then, feel free to get in touch with the school office, and I can make a phone call to you if needed. Is that okay?
Yeah, perfect. Thanks.
Mark, if you've got part of those meetings is that we want parents to be able to, this is generic, and the messy plays are quite broad about all the children. The one-to-ones are about your child. So if there's something you specifically want to discuss with us prior to September, absolutely get in touch and we'll have that conversation. But Mrs. Williams is right. We want to allow her time to dedicate to the children in her class, which is why we put those 2 days aside for the face-to-face.
Yeah.
But please do phone us if there's something specifically about your child we can help with.
Yeah, no, lovely. Thanks.
Thank you. Where are we, Miss Williams? Shall I crack on? Next slide.
Yes, please. Yep. So starting school in September, we've split into Group A and Group B. You should have already had correspondence so that you are clear on that. And I'm guessing from the attendance at the messy play, we're okay with that. So the first 2 days, you have got a timetable for each group. We've got the Thursday and Friday where we will continue to do messy play sessions, and we will encourage you on the Thursday to stay for that. That will be led by myself, and Mrs. Elston will be there that day. On the Friday, we will encourage you to go for a short walk to give a bit of space and a bit of distance between you and your child, so that they can start getting that feeling of being in school without you. Mrs. Elston will be leading that one, and then we start the full week on the 6th of September. You will, whether you are Group A or Group B, either be doing mornings or afternoons, and the times are 9 until 11:30 for Group A. We've put some details on where we'd like you to drop off and where we would like you to collect. It sounds quite pernickety, but it's so that you don't come into contact with children at playtimes, or we're not interrupting the flow of parents picking up other children from school. So just make reference. And as ever, if you have any questions, please just ring the office if you need to clarify, but the timetable should make it fairly straightforward. Each group will have 2.5 hours with us if they are afternoons or if they're mornings. The first week, nobody stays for lunch, so you'll still have to feed them and they'll still be eating you out of house and home if it's anything like my daughter. On the second week, we have an overlap, and in the middle of the day, both groups will come together and we will be eating in the hall together. That will be just a short time where we are our full class, and it's a nice sociable time where the adults will sit with the children, we eat with them, we talk to them, we make sure that they're eating as well, and we sort of start those routines for lunchtime. What you will need to do for that second week is provide your child with a packed lunch. Now, we are a healthy school, so we would expect it to be a healthy lunchbox. However, we understand that your child will be new to school. We understand that some children are particularly picky eaters maybe, or particular about certain foods, and so I want you to be the judge of that. Use common sense. You don't want them to go hungry, but equally we don't want a big feast that they won't be able to eat in the time that they have got. So are there any questions around about that? Your timetables you should have had, and you should have been able to have a look at prior to this evening anyway, so hopefully that's straightforward enough.
That's the Group B timetable as well. We've got.
Yeah.
Fab. All right.
So from the 20th of September, we will be in school full time, and you really do not need to send them with much at all. They will need a water bottle. Please, can you make sure that it is named, and you can buy them a water bottle from the supermarkets, from wherever you like. Or alternatively, we sell a Badsey school water bottle, £1.20, I think it is off the top of my head. So just make sure that it is named and that they can recognise it. We provide fruit and veg as a mid-morning snack, and it's part of our government scheme. These are eaten in class, and we do say that when they're first starting school, if they're not keen on certain fruits or veg, or they want it a particular way, then you can feel free to allow them to bring in a healthy snack. It's not sweets, chocolate, crisps. It has to be something healthy that they can have. In school, in our class, we say that we've got a rolling snack cafe. So this is to create independence in the children and to encourage them to recognise their own hunger. And so during the course of the morning, before playtime, the fruit and the vegetables will be out along with the milk. If your child is under 5, they will have free milk from us, and you access that via the website. And we will encourage them to consume their snack and their milk on the carpet. They get a chance to do it in their session in the morning. At lunchtime, we have got a fabulous kitchen. Leslie and Fiona do a fantastic job of providing a really great hot dinner. And in our school, in the infants, children have the option of eating that for free. So should you wish to supply your child with a packed lunch from home, that's fine. But can you again make sure it's named? The common theme you may notice as I run through this, and I cannot stress it enough, and we will love you forevermore if you can make sure that absolutely everything is named. And Mrs. Elsden will certainly thank you when we start PE. And if you expect to get things back, then they need a name in. Otherwise, it's like I need a crystal ball. I don't know whose it is, and neither will Mrs. Elsden.
It's the blue jumper with the Badsey badge on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really helpful, isn't it? So we do try and keep all the jumpers in one place. We have a basket in our classroom so that at least we can eliminate the whereabouts and we can get it in the general vicinity. But yes, it does need a name in it, please.
Otherwise they end up doing the sniff test, don't they?
Yeah. So reading folders, we will issue your child with those on their first day with us. We'll put their name in, and it might have some correspondence at the start of term. So please don't expect to get that before the summer. We will give it to them on the first day. Named PE bag, named black shorts, and a navy blue logo t-shirt or white polo shirt. You won't need trainers or footwear until the summer term. And let's be honest, Mrs. Elsden, the first lot of PE lessons, we aim to just try and take our shoes and socks off in that time so that we can actually have a bit of a run about and get some PE done. Otherwise, we have had it in the past where we've had a quick 2-minute jig and it's time to get changed again. So a waterproof and warm coat, please can you make sure that you send your child to school with that? Even if I know some of our children this week haven't turned up with coats, there's showers. We like to get out and explore when we can, and so just make sure they're prepared. If you've not already purchased the school uniform, then please consider buying a polo shirt rather than a formal shirt, because it just makes life a lot easier. The buttons are too much for the children, and we want them to be as independent as they can be, getting changed and unchanged. I will also note as well, because we are in early years, we have our outdoor area. Those of you that have done the tour, you will know that door is always open. It's called our free flow area, and so in the autumn term it can get really quite chilly, and I would suggest providing them with a fleece as well, just to keep them cozy. And when they go outside they wear a coat, but believe me, it is quite chilly in there when you're inside and the door is wide open in winter.
Certainly a theme across school with COVID measures we've had to put in place. Now it looks like some of those may be lifting for September. We'll communicate a whole new plan to you before school opens in September, but we do keep windows open across the whole school. We did last winter to help with the ventilation, so absolutely good advice there. A vest, a fleece, really good things to purchase from the school shop or from Tesco or Asda. I've hijacked Mrs. Williams and just put an extra slide in here that she doesn't know about, but I'll just draw your attention on our website. There's a pack there in the parent info tab called New to Badsey First School, definitely worth a read. It's designed mainly for parents who are moving their child to our school mid-year, but there's loads of links and information there for you. Talks about school milk, talks about school uniform and all the rest of it. So do have a read of that if you haven't already. A couple of slides left, folks, and then we'll see if there's any question.
So how can you prepare your child for school? So the most important thing that you can do to prepare your child for school is to basically have a positive attitude towards it. I really think the drop-off is quite important when we start school. I think although you may be nervous and worried and a little apprehensive, especially about that separation if it's the first time, I know I've experienced it. I returned after maternity leave full-time and had to drop my daughter off at nursery, and it's hard, but she definitely benefited from me being more positive about it and not passing on my worries or concerns onto her. So your support in that would really, really help their journey with us. And I know it's hard to separate even if they're upset, but I promise you they will get a cuddle and lots of love from us when you hand them over. So to continue to support their ability to get on with others and to help them do simple things independently. That's what this baseline and the rest of the year will be about. We want them to be as independent as they can in all areas. That, to me, is what a successful learner is. They're independent. So asking to use the toilet, using it properly and remembering to flush it afterwards sounds simple, but you know, some children still may be struggling with that, and so if it's an area you know you need to work on over the summer, that would be very much appreciated. They will have to go and use the toilet themselves. We are on hand. We're not sort of afraid of dealing with any of those bodily fluids, but it would be great to prepare them for that. To know that they need to wash and dry their hands, I think that's so important now, especially with COVID, but it's always been on the presentation. putting on and taking off their own coat, and hanging it safely on a peg. They all sound like such small pernickety things, but playtimes, if your child can't put their coat on, they can't take it off, they will become frustrated. That could lead to other behaviours and just a feeling of frustration on the whole, really. And putting it on the hook, if we've got 27, we've got a small area. We just want them, it links in with being responsible, and that's looking after their belongings and taking care of them. Shoes, please, can you not send children in laces? If I'll be thrilled if they can tie laces already, but Velcro shoes or shoes that they can easily get on and off themselves. Using a tissue and disposing of it. Obviously, we will help with areas like that, but we would on the whole like the children to be able to wipe their nose and know that it's hygienic to do so. Using cutlery, so we have lots of singing, lots of rhymes when we first start our lunch times, and they involve Tommy Thumb, hold that plate, hold that plate. We don't want dinners sliding everywhere, but using cutlery, you know, will really sort of help them at lunchtime to be more independent. I don't expect children to be writing their name. If they can, fantastic, but recognising their name will help them to identify their drawer, where their water bottle goes, where their peg is. And for us, I think playing with others, taking turns and sharing, they're all quite difficult when the objects in the classroom don't belong to anybody but the adults. It's us that provide them. And so I think there are children that obviously form attachments to certain things or would prefer to play with certain things. And it's knowing that sharing doesn't mean you want a turn, therefore that child has got to give it to you. Sharing means you might have to wait a little bit, but you will get a turn at some point. And for us, we love reading. Mrs. Elsden's put together a little activity today based around reading for the summer. We've shared our favourite books with you, and so we will read to your child every day without fail. So we would love them to sit quietly and be able to listen to a story and be interested and enthusiastic about it. And finally, I am trying to speed this up. I'm aware of the time. I'm sorry. Join us for a calming cup of tea or coffee in school after bringing your child for the first day. We want to get to know you. We want you to feel part of our school. We want you to feel welcome. We want you to feel that your child is settling well. And most of all, we want you to trust us and to know that they are in the best place possible. I will say that I'm biased, but there we go. So please do come and join us. Tears, smiles, whatever you're bringing with you, we'll be there to have a chat and to comfort or share in your excitement and enthusiasm. And also it's a chance for you to get to know the other parents. This is your journey as well, and you are starting your journey or picking it up again as parents and families of Badsey First School. So Monday the 6th of September will be the day, 9:40 for Group A and 12:40 for Group B. I'll even provide some biscuits.
Fab. There we are. I'll stop sharing that a second. Still got as many people in the meeting at the end of it as when we started it. That's always a good sign. Hopefully that provides you guys with a wealth of information. That's what we were trying to achieve. We were frustrated this time last year when we couldn't do this for our new cohort. What I'm fascinated by the current reception is how much they've embraced life at Badsey First School. We've got I think 6 or 7 of the current reception parents are desperate to get involved with our parent and teacher friends association and be a part of our school community actively. And we'd love that to be the case with you guys, that you can fall in love with Badsey First School and just be really reassured in the choice you've made. So hopefully there's some good information there for you this evening. You've all got the opportunity to have a one-to-one with the teachers next week. And if you can't be there, do get in touch and we can chat to you about your child specifically. Is anyone left with any questions relevant to what we've discussed this evening? If there's questions relevant to your individual child, raise them at the meeting with the teachers, and they'll be able to give you a far more personal answer, not in a public forum. But any general questions of stuff you were hoping to learn this evening that maybe we haven't covered? You nailed it, guys. Look at that. Good job. Fab. I think the national anthem starts in about 10 minutes, so we'll let you all go and put the kids to bed, get the kettle on or something else out of the fridge, and enjoy a lovely Wednesday evening. We'll see how it goes. Really lovely to see so many of you here. We'll get some communication out shortly. As I say, there'll be lots more from us before September, just because I write regularly to the parents, and we'll make sure that you're involved in all of that as well. But thank you very much for your time this evening. Really, really appreciate you coming to join us. And we're really looking forward to this next chapter. I love working with the new parents, and as one myself, I'm as excited as you. So let's see how it all goes. But thank you for your time. We'll say goodbye for now, and we'll catch you all very soon.
Thanks, everybody. Nice to see you. See you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.